chords from the second category. Exercise number 25 uses bass string chords from both the first and second category. When chords move in fourths, that is, one chord name is 4 steps in the scale away from the last chord, for example, B to E, B, C, D, E, moving in a fourth. When these chords move in fourths, these bass string chords are very effective because they have a guide finger, that is, a finger which will connect one chord to the next. If I'm going from B7 to E7, you can see that the third finger guides from one chord to the next. So a series of fourths would sound like that. It's a very common progression in jazz. Also, it could be a minor 7 to a 7, like E minor 7, to A7, D minor 7, G7, C minor, to F. Again, you can see the guide finger, connecting the chords together. Comping is a term which is short for accompaniment. And with this style of accompaniment, rather than playing down 4 times in a measure, or using a strum pattern of some form, rather than doing that, you play short, separated strums. So an example of a comp for 4/4 time might be something like this: a 1, 2, 3, 4. Sort of a staggered rhythm style of playing. Now, there are some comps which are fairly traditional and more popular than others. Exercise number 29 from the book uses comp pattern number 9 from the book, and in this comp pattern you play on beat 1 and on 2 and. So it sounds like this: 2, 3, 4. Now, once you decide on a comp pattern to use for the song, you can play the same comp rhythm every measure, or you can combine the various comp rhythms to make the accompaniment sound more interesting. Exercise number 29. You notice that when I was playing the comp rhythm, that this provided more of a swing feel and more rhythmic drive to the music. Also, it provided some space in the music, which is important in jazz playing. You could hear the bass and the drums come through, but rhythmically it made the music more interesting. Number 30, exercise number 30, uses comp pattern number 13, which is a 2-measure comp pattern. Exercise number 34 uses a combination of several of the comp rhythms for 4/4 time. Notice how interesting this makes the rhythm, and yet it doesn't get boring. With chord inversions or four-string chords, only strings 1, 2, 3, and 4 are played. And with these chord forms, the root of the chord can be on the fourth string, the root can be on the third string, or on the second string. Now they're called inversions because, for example, when I play an F chord with the first form, the major chord, the root is on the fourth string. This form of the F chord, the four-string chord, has the root of the chord on the second string, so F would be in the fifth fret, and the third of the chord is on the bottom. With the next chord form, the root of the chord is on the third string. So even though those are all played in different places, they're still F chords. And the reason this happens is because although they're played in a different position, they all contain the same notes. This F chord is F, A, C, F. This F chord is A, C, F, A. So the same notes in a different arrangement. And this F chord is C, F, A, C. They have the same notes, only arranged in a different order. Exercise number 35 from the book uses four-string chords, major, minor, and seventh chords. Also has a major seventh and a sixth chord in it as well. This next example uses some more four-string chords or chord inversions. Now the reason they're called chord inversions, remember, is because the bottom note of each chord is not necessarily the root. It can be another member of the chord as well. And these chords are very helpful if you're playing rhythm guitar, if there's more than one guitar, or you want a different voicing on the guitar. Or they're also extremely helpful if you're playing chord melodies and you want to harmonize a melody that might be on one of the upper strings, strings 1 or 2. These chords can be used to harmonize that melody. Exercise number 38, using some chord inversions and four-string chords. Seventh chords, which are commonly used in jazz, can be altered seventh chords. Now what this means is that the fifth or the ninth of the chord can be raised or lowered. So you could have a sharp 5 or a flat 5 or a sharp 9 or a flat 9. Let me demonstrate some of the more common fingerings for these patterns. This is a 7 flat 5 chord which has its root on the 6th string. Notice it's a dead string chord. Many of these are dead string chords. Now this 7 flat 5 chord can also have its root on the 2nd string. So this could be D7 flat 5 as well as A flat 7 flat 5. Here's another form with the root on the 5th string of a 7 flat 5. The 7 flat 5 chord with the root on the 4th string. This chord is the 7 sharp 5, or sometimes called the augmented 7th chord. Here's another form of the 7 sharp 5 chord. Here's the 7 flat 9 chord. This can also be played with the thumb on the 6th string, or just omit that note. The 7 flat 9 with the root on the 5th string. A 7 sharp 9 with the root on the 5th string. Another 7 sharp 9 with the root on the 6th string. This next chord is a 7 flat 9, or excuse me, a 7 flat 5 sharp 9 with the root on the 5th string. This is a 7 sharp 5 flat 9 with the root on the 6th string. Here's a 7 sharp 5 flat 9, root on the 5th string. This is a 7 sharp 5 sharp 9 with the root on the 6th string. Now this can be played with the thumb over top on the 6th string so that you have fingers 1, 2, and 4, and then bring the thumb over the top, or just leave the thumb off. This is a 7 sharp 5 sharp 9 with the root on the 5th string. This next chord is a 7 flat 5 flat 9. It can be played this way, also with the thumb on the 6th string. This is a 7 flat 5 flat 9 chord with the root on 5. With the root on 6, this is a major 7 sharp 11, sometimes called a major 7 flat 5 chord. This next chord is a major 7 sharp 11 with the root on the 5th string. This is a major 7 sharp 11, or a major 7 flat 5 with the root on the 4th string. Here is a major 9 sharp 11, or a major 9 flat 5 with the root on the 5th string. This is a major 6-9 sharp 11, or a major 6-9 flat 5 with the root on the 5th string. And this next chord is a 13 flat 9 chord, and it has the note, the root on the 6th string, which can be played with the thumb, or just omit that note altogether and just play 4 strings. 13 flat 9. These altered chords are commonly used to provide some color to the music, and because they provide a strong pull into the next chord. For example, listen to how this 7 flat 5 chord resolves to a major chord, or a major 7. You can hear the resolution. Here is a 7 flat 5 flat 9 chord. You can hear that it pulls into the next chord. Exercise number 41 uses these altered 7th chords. Now as you hear those altered 7th chords, hear how they pull harmonically into the next chord. Next, we're going to talk about some elements that are used in solo jazz guitar playing. And at the very foundation of playing solo jazz guitar, or solo guitar in any style for that matter, are scales. Now the most popular scale, and at the root of the building of all of your other scales, is the major scale. And a major scale is built with a series of whole steps and half steps, a whole step being 2 frets and a half step being 1 fret. Now the formula for the major scale is to play a whole step, then a whole step, then a half step, then a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and a half step. In the book are given several fingerings, about 6 of them, for the fingering of the major scale. And you'll notice on the diagrams that the diamond, the number with the diamond around it, this represents the location of the root of the scale. So these scales are portable and can be moved up the scale. The same fingering can be moved up. There's a major scale, for example. You could move this fingering up, and you would still have a major scale. So you can play the same pattern and move it around on the neck. Whatever note you begin with or place the diamond on, the name of that note will be the name of the major scale you're playing. Now the way I'm going to demonstrate these scales, I'm going to start with the lowest root of the scale, and then I'm going to play to the highest note in the scale that's written on the diagram, staying in one position. Now this, the highest note could go beyond the root, but I won't play the notes below the root. So for example, the major scale, beginning with the root on the 6th string with the 2nd finger, would be played like this, and this will be a G major scale because I'm starting on G. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2. And then that other note extends beyond the octave, but it is a note which is in the scale. Here's another form of the major scale, beginning with the root on the 6th string with the 4th finger. The ascending form of this scale is different than the descending pattern, and this is done for convenience. It could be played either way, but it's commonly played with a different pattern descending. The ascending form of the major scale would go like this. I'll play an A scale beginning with the 4th finger on A. Descending, another form of the major scale with the root on the 6th string beginning with the 1st finger. Then beyond the octave. With all these patterns, except for the pattern beginning with the 4th finger on the 6th string, the ascending and descending fingerings are the same. This next pattern is a major scale with its root on the 5th string, starting with the 2nd finger. This would be the C major scale. Major scale beginning with the root on the 5th string with the 4th finger. And the major scale beginning on the 5th string with the 1st finger. Now, all these scale forms that I've just played for you are what we call vertical scales. That means they go across the neck this way, rather than moving up and down the neck. Now, these vertical scales can be turned into horizontal scales by combining 2 or more of the patterns. For example, this is a G major scale with the root on the 6th string. Here is a G major scale beginning with the root on the 5th string and the 10th fret with the 4th finger. Now I can go from one scale to the next, shifting on any string. For example, what I'm going to play now is the G major scale beginning on the 6th string with the 2nd finger. Then right here, I'll shift into the next pattern, the G. So I combined the G scale with the root on the 6th with the G scale with the root on the 5th string and went from one to the next. You see that in a little faster motion, it would be like this. And I can shift on any string. I can shift on the 6th string, then in the same manner, it would go like this. This turns my vertical scales, and horizontal scale forms. Major scales can be used to play solos or write melodies against major type chords, and also chords from a major family, major key family, that is. For example, if we're playing a piece of music and it's in the key of G, any of the chords that are used in the key of G, the G major scale could be used to improvise over those chord changes. Example 51 out of the book is a good example of that. The chords that are played are all from the key of G, but the one scale that's used through the entire solo is the G major scale. And I'll be using the G major scale, which is the pattern which has the root on the 6th string, beginning with the 2nd finger. By knowing several different fingerings of the major scale, it's possible for the song to change key and change